This is an exciting extra episode for our Patreon subscribers. We'll be making it live for everybody soon. But we wanted to take a minute to review the first half of the 46th season of Saturday Night Live before the second half begins. Joseph, how you been doing over there? Happy New Year.
Doing great. Happy New Year to you as well. It's hard to believe it's been what, about 6 weeks, 5 weeks since our last episode.
And I am ready for this Saturday to bring back Saturday Night Live. John Krasinski.
Yeah. I guess we got John Krasinski. We'll talk about him in a little bit, and the slates of the first three episodes of the season have been laid out for us. So that's exciting.
Now, with the John Krasinski episode, I assume we're going to see a lot of this.
Now, this is his first time, right? I've not done the research on Krasinski yet, but I think this is the first time. It's kind of surprising to me.
This is his debut.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But first, we take a look back a little bit on the first half of the season, a season that was obviously the election was in full swing, and we had COVID stuff kind of at a peak as well. And just wanted to kind of rehash a little bit of that. I think for me at least, looking back, the episodes I was most looking forward to were Dave Chappelle, John Mulaney, and Kristen Wiig, and those probably were, in my opinion, the three worst episodes of the season.
As I was looking back at the episodes, I thought that myself. I looked at all the big names and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm really going to be excited to see these folks. And none of their episodes really stood out to me. I didn't look back and say, oh my gosh, those were great. The episodes I looked back at, well, I don't want to give any spoilers because I know we're going to have awards soon, but sometimes the least expected folks can bring the most.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's what makes the show kind of fun and unique, is that you never know what the host is going to bring. And I got to say, these three hosts are a pretty eclectic group. And I think that we could have some surprises because these are three people that aren't really household names, nor are they really people that are like, they're kind of in the comedy world, but they're not really like, they do other stuff too.
Yeah, I would say John Krasinski is a pretty big name, but I'm not terribly familiar with the others.
I agree with you to a point, but I think that if people say, who's this guy? They'd say that's Jim from The Office. They wouldn't say it's John Krasinski. So I think he's well known, but I don't think his brand is known. I think he is still, and maybe always, but he's done some action stuff, but like, I think he is basically Jim Halpert.
That's an excellent point. Excellent point.
So the first half, I think we agreed in length about how it was really hamstrung by the political stuff. And maybe we'll talk about that in the latter half of the show here, of like how politics will factor in here to the second half of the season. But definitely mired in a lot of easy, low-hanging fruit COVID jokes and a lot of politics stuff. And I thought like the latter half of the season, when you got kind of freed from some of that, they were able to do a lot more traditional good comedy sketches.
If I never see another Donald Trump or Zoom sketch, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I do wonder how that's going to be handled, because there's probably a little bit of juice left there, but not much.
I think we'll see Donald this week, and that might be it.
Yeah, I think so too. And we'll get to the second half here. So there's a lot of interesting, I think, ways to go in this half of the season. But I think we want to do some awards. Do you have a top episode from last season offhand? A top episode?
I do, and I didn't want to say too much about it because it really led into a lot of the stuff you were saying. My top episode, no question, was Timothy Chalamet. Is that how you say his last name?
Chalamet, yeah, correct.
And what there's two things I like about it. One, to your earlier point, I don't know who that is. To this day, I don't know who he is, but I know that I really enjoyed his episode. He made me laugh. He's very talented. And that goes to, as you were saying, you never know what the hosts are going to bring. And that's also the beauty of Saturday Night Live. I looked at that and I said, I don't know who this guy is. I'm not excited for this episode. And then at the end of the episode, I said, wow, that was outstanding. That was fantastic. So it is really a nice reminder that SNL can definitely introduce you to some new faces and new talents. That was my top half episode.
I go with the Jason Bateman episode on the week before, and Chalamet was a very nice follow-up. I thought Bateman one was good, had really some great notes. And I thoroughly enjoyed both of those. To me, were my 1 and 2, definitely. Now for some awards, you add to
that? All I wanted to say was the stand-ups. You said Chris Rock, John Mulaney, Bill Burr. They didn't deliver like we wanted them to.
Yeah, for sure. So first half awards, I think we dive in with maybe the top. I'm gonna go top newcomer first. Top newcomer, and I didn't say rookie because I think rookie's a tough slot because rookies don't always get the reps that are needed to really warrant this. But so top newcomer from the last 2 years.
Um, I might be mincing too closely here because I looked this up before we recorded because my pick was going to be Ego Nwodum, but she's been there for three. This is her third season, so I did not pick her. I'm going to go with Bowen Yang only because I'm worried about how typecast he's getting. We've talked about that. He's been very typecast, but he is funny. I do like Bowen Yang, so he's going to be my pick.
Yeah, he brings a lot to the sketches, but it just seems like it's the same thing again and again, which is unfortunate because he has some diversity, he has some range of talents, and they all seem to use him as just the the song and dance or the overly dramatic, somewhat maybe homosexual kind of tendencies of that is overly done, and it's just like it's just not really we get
Very
it.
very stereotypically flamboyant.
Yes,
in a lot of
yes.
ways.
And I go with Chloe Fineman. I think this year we saw a little bit at the SNL at Home late last season when she did some impersonations, and this season was kind of more of the same. I thought she was very much just really kind of became really the impersonator du jour right now, being the cast member who is best at impersonations.
Yeah, she gets a lot of votes from me too. Bowen just does her out, but she's real good too.
Next up was most improved, which is sometimes a tough, it's almost a backhanded compliment. But most improved, I'll lead off of this one. I go with Pete Davidson as a guy who, he's been around for a while. He's a known entity, but he's had some problems, outside of the show and with the personal life, and it definitely bled into the show in which he would disappear for weeks at a time or just be just not very good. And this season, he's really done a good job of keeping it together. He's been stable. He's carried sketches. He's been background sketches. He's done all the things you want from a cast member.
I agree. And he was also my pick because in the past I really have had no use for Pete Davidson whatsoever. And I've said that to you many times. But this season I've really enjoyed him. He's become a much more well-rounded cast member, and so we agree completely on that. Pete Davidson, most improved player of the first half.
Mail it in. Now for MVP, you take the honors for this one. I had a hard time with this one.
I did too, and I really thought outside of the box because, as you know, my immediate, I always by default, I always go straight to Keenan, and I just think that's too easy a pick because he's the veteran. He's going to do whatever he wants. So I really sat down and I thought about, who did I enjoy the most? Who brought me the most laughs? And this might be way too far out of the box, but my vote for MVP is Michael Che.
Wow.
That's Michael Che.
Love it.
Between the writing, the delivery, and just the complete total fun he has on Weekend Update. I look so forward to that segment every single week, mainly because of what he brings. Michael Che, you get my vote for first half MVP.
That's a really, it's almost like picking like a closer for MVP, which is like, it's outside the box, but like, if you think about it, if the closer lights out, like what a great member of the team. I mean, Che only comes out for a few minutes each show. Now, a couple of years ago, we were both lamenting how the best part of the show is update, and that's never a good thing. That might be the case in some weeks now, but it's not because the show is weak. I think it's updates is just so strong.
I think that the surrounding parts of the show have gotten so much stronger too.
And I think Che is just so at ease when he's telling his jokes and doing his thing. It just, I guess to this point, all update hosts are doing kind of a bit of stand up, but he legit seems like he's doing stand up. Whereas past update hosts are trying to be news anchors at the same time, and Che is just doing his stand-up stuff.
You're going to know what a high compliment this is coming from me. The last Weekend Update anchor I saw as flawless and relaxed as Michael Che was Norm Macdonald.
I mean, similarities are there for sure. It is the ease in which they both present and tell the jokes and go seamlessly from one to the next.
And they also, Che maybe more so than Norm Macdonald, He doesn't care if you think it's funny. He does. He
Right.
knows it's funny. He has endless faith in his delivery and in his jokes, and I just really enjoy him. So congratulations, Michael Che. You've been nominated by me for the Challenger Memorial MVP of Saturday Night Live.
You know, in the context of that show, it's being live. The jokes are very much, you know, you don't know what you're getting when you start that broadcast with the crowd, and crowd participation is so important. He's like Norm is really good at, if the joke flops, he then makes that the joke,
Yeah.
and that's very hard to do in a very time constrained show like that. When you got to keep things moving, he can hang on for a couple more seconds, and that gets some laughs. And that to me is
Yeah,
always impressive.
he has perfected it. Now I'm excited to hear your vote for MVP
Well,
of the first half.
yeah, like you, I Cecily, Kate, and Keenan are the go-tos, but Cecily's been pretty much gone. Keenan missed a few weeks and been kind of like he's got his spots here and there, and Kate kind of the same thing. I don't really have like a standout right now. I started the season with Heidi Gardner as my pick, and I'm gonna keep with her. She did nothing to really win the award, but in my mind, she did nothing to lose it. So I'm gonna kind of hold like status quo right now and say she's still the leader, but there's no one has done anything to move up, or she's nothing to move down. So I'm gonna stick with Heidi Gardner.
Well, you know my feelings on Pretty Mandy, so I can't complain. I can't complain on this pick, Joe. I think it's a good
Yeah.
one.
Well, and with Che, I think the banter they have, the rapport they have on Update when she does her characters, I think really makes them better. And I think she does well feeding off Che and he than her. So to me, it's a good duo right there.
If Heidi Gardner can outlast Cecily, 80, and Kate, she is going to go down in the annals of time as one of the stronger female cast members on SNL. I truly believe that. I think right now she's fourth or fifth place, only based on the fact that Cecily and Kate will probably go down as one of the greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
80s up there. She has some real good showings too. But if Heidi gets her time to shine, she is going to make a real mark. She's just got to wait a few years.
Now, speaking of 80, this is called a segue. Speaking of 80, we saw no 80 in the first half of the season. The questions I have heading into the second half is, will we see Cecily Hoffman? Will we see 80 at all? Will we see Keenan? Keenan's got his new sitcom called Keenan coming out. Is that now done filming, so he's freed up, or are they going to be filming more episodes? Like, that to me is one of the big questions: is who's going to be around the second half? Like, COVID is still obviously around and still is a very serious thing, but hopefully that'll start easing back into more regularity of the cast. That's my own big question out of the gates is, who are we going to see every single week this half?
Well, to go back to an earlier point, I think what's crazy is that the Keenan show does debut soon. But what's weird is the Keenan show stars Marsha Warfield. I don't understand how that makes sense, but it does.
What's wrong with Marsha Warfield? She was a titan of the 80s and 90s.
Night Court. God bless Marsha Warfield. God bless her.
How is that that TV theme show bracket? Night Court's got to be an instrumental heavyweight.
Night Court should be a heavyweight, instrumental or otherwise. It's just a fantastic theme. We did. Not to correct you, but we saw 80 once very briefly in the first half.
Oh yeah.
You did a weather report on
in Iowa or Wisconsin, or she was in the middle.
She said it was cold. That was it.
Yeah, true. Thank you for the correction. She's not been, to our knowledge, in New York City at Studio 8H at any point in time, but you are correct, sir. Thank you for that. So we give it the facts on Wild and Crazy Guys. We bring it to facts.
We saw more Cecily towards the end, so I think we're going to see more Cecily towards the beginning. I think we'll see, of the three, obviously, I think we'll see Keenan the most, but I think you'll see Cecily, and then I don't know what's going to happen with 80.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what her show, what the status of that was going to be. So now we head into the second half, and we mentioned John Krasinski. He'll be leading off on Saturday, January 30th. And then he'll be joined by Machine Gun Kelly. I know a little bit about him, but not too much. He's kind of a hard rocker kind of
could
thing.
Be anybody. He could be Timothy Chalamet for all I know.
There's some similarities in appearance. So he's much taller than Timothy Chalamet. He's got dyed blonde hair, but they have a little bit some similar facial features. So John Krasinski. The following week we got Dan Levy. with Phoebe Bridgers. I've heard of her, but don't know much about her. Musical guest.
Now, I do know Dan Levy is the son of Eugene Levy. That much I know from Schitt's Creek, I believe.
Can we say that?
Just did.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to check with the what's it called, the standards and practices. See if we can air that word.
I'm check. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're
okay,
fine.
Good.
Mom says it's okay.
Great.
And Phoebe Bridgers sounds very familiar to me, but I can't place her.
Because Fleabag starred Phoebe Waller-Bridges.
Oh,
and
well then see, I
Bridgers. This is no, I thought the same thing. I thought
that was a great show. That was a great show.
Great show, and she hosted as well, I believe, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So Phoebe Bridgers, I read that she was she made a whole album from her apartment using the technology at her disposal. I thought the same thing of like, wow, this girl's really talented. She wrote Fleabag, now she's making music, but different person.
All right. Okay. Well, I mean, we're also making an entire album utilizing the technology we have available to us. So we've got that in common with Phoebe.
Absolutely. Then rounding things out, we've got Regina King, who I don't know what she's in right now, but she's been quite a few things over the years. I think perhaps what I most know her from is Enemy of the State, I believe. But I don't know what she's in right now. We had a couple weeks to figure that out part, though, because she's not hosting until February 11th, I believe. No, February 12th. 13th.
Yeah.
And then Nathaniel Rateliff will be the musical guest for that one. My wife will want to watch that musical guest. She's a big fan of Nathaniel Rateliff.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
His band's the Night Sweats. I'm not sure if the Night Sweats will be joining them with that or not, but Nathaniel Rateliff will be there. Night Sweats to be determined.
Best known for his portrayal of Harry Potter.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're still holding your Taylor Swift ticket for hosting and doing the double.
I'm telling you, I think she's going to do double duty. I feel it.
I would not bet against that. So now, okay, a couple questions heading out the gates. Obviously, a lot has happened since the last episode. The new president has been sworn in and is fully immersed in that job. So the question is, how much we'll see of that? Will we see any President Trump? Of course, we're also a few weeks removed from the tragic scene at the U.S. Capitol happening. So, like, will that come up? You know, we had those militia guys sketch a couple times appear, or do they just stay off that completely?
I don't want to make light of what happened at the Capitol, but it is a tailor-made SNL cold open. It is a tailor-made SNL cold open. I hope that at some point they do like a 2021 year in review or something like that. Just the things that have happened so far, because I think the inauguration, Donald Trump being kind of excommunicated to Miami, the Capitol being stormed, even today with everything that's going on with Robinhood trading, and I think there could just be a review of the last 4 weeks type of cold open, and they could hit a lot of really high points.
There's no doubt that Update is going to go into some of that stuff. I do. I'm curious if they'll handle any of the aspects of that event of that day. The only I could see would be just gratuitously mocking the people who are doing that and just going super hard at them. That's the only possible thing I see. I don't foresee Beck Bennett coming out as Mike Pence and making anything about that, or like any of those congressmen who are still touting election fraud. I don't see that being. I think more, if anything, it'll be just mocking the people there that day. Maybe the Buffalo guy will be the Buffalo guy.
Yeah, absolutely, openly mocking the folks that stormed the Capitol would be my guess for a cold open.
Maybe them being in jail or something and that kind of stuff. And I also think too, possibly Trump at Mar-a-Lago could be a possibility of like him not being able to tweet. But I think you're right. And this is probably, barring some massive thing, this is probably, I hope, the last we'll see of Alec Baldwin and Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, at least for the next 4 years. Who knows what comes up? But yes, I think he'll be he will be retired this Saturday rather.
And yeah, I think you mentioned the Robin Hood trading thing. I think that'll come up in some capacities of what a crazy story that's been, and how much comedy you can mine from that for sure.
Well, certainly just the fact that GameStop is involved. GameStop is also a really tailor-made Saturday Night Live sketch. I think there's a lot of possibilities, very close to Showtime here.
For sure, and I think more so next week, but maybe this week we'll see some aspect of tying in sports, football. Obviously, Super Bowl is not till next weekend, so we usually see a sports sketch when that goes on. I don't think we'll see one this week, but maybe. I think they'll probably stay there for next week if they can with it. But yeah, I don't foresee anything with that. But the politics question to me is always the one going forward. How much politics are we going to see? Maybe this first time you wash your hands of some stuff, but I mean, it's been 2 weeks, and this isn't a week, I should say, a very boring week and a half for President Biden, which maybe that could be reason to go away from that, because let's be honest, it's not that exciting to watch a president just sign paper and give boring press conferences.
Yeah, and kind of nice in some ways, but also I don't know that it lends itself to comedy.
Right. Any other predictions, projections? I don't really have become. I'm still holding my Tom Hanks card. I think Tom Hanks has a movie coming out soon. I just think that's a low easy bet to kind of pick at.
Yeah, he's a good pick. I don't have any other picks for hosts this half, except I'm holding on to my Taylor Swift card. Unless, if the Chiefs end up winning the Super Bowl, Pat Mahomes might not be a bad choice. I could see that happening as well.
I agree. He's very charismatic. He's very much into. He's not super out there, but he's out there enough, and he is a very, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Tom Brady, I don't think we'll see host because he doesn't stay up past 9 o'clock at night. He goes to bed as early as you do, so I don't think Tom Brady would host that show.
Tom Brady and I are, it would have to be previously recorded.
You guys are basically the same person.
Well, yeah, except for Giselle. Otherwise, same exact person.
More or less. Now, this is maybe way down the road, but any bold predictions on who this could be? The end of the road, maybe?
It scares me to say this, but with Keenan's show, this could be it for Keenan. And to what we talked about earlier, could be 80, could be Cecily, depending on what else goes on for them. But I think I think we better enjoy Keenan and Kate while we got them, because I'm not sure we're going to get much more out of them.
Yeah, it's a conversation I'm gonna have later on with you about that. About what is the goal of SNL cast member these days? What do you want to do? Where do you want your career to be? Is SNL does a nice job where it's not super stressful. It's a pressure cooker, but it's not it doesn't take up that much of your time. You can do other projects, but you're never going to become a big time star by just doing that show. So that's a conversation, because we do have, I think, Cecily, Kate, and Keenan are 3 of the most 7 longest tenured cast members of all time. It's why is it happening now? Why are they sticking around so long? That to me is a conversation that I think maybe have down the road closer to the end of the season.
Well, I think I just want to throw it out there just as a thought off the top of my head. Why is it happening now is because with YouTube and with TikTok and with Instagram and whatever, everyone can be an improv star. Everyone can just decide to be a comedian. So once you've hit what is no doubt the Mount Olympus of improv, Saturday Night Live, or the Mount Olympus of comedy, Saturday Night Live, you want to stay there because there's people going to do your job left and right. So I think that's why that's happening now.
Yeah, and I think that the notion of you'll become the next Mike Myers or Will Ferrell is sort of it's more the exception than the rule. It's a very hard mountain to climb.
Yeah, I think you take what you can get and you take it for all you can, and then you ride off into the sunset.
And I think Bill Hader who said as long as you can navigate the politics and sort of you can say backstab and kind of that competitive environment, it's really a great place to work. It's super creative. It's just it's not for everyone, and the schedule is not very demanding, but it's also very demanding in a short time constraints and not ideal for families and that kind of stuff. So it's a fascinating thing to look at, and as we do have these great iconic cast members, that what's their future? Who knows?
And you have to put your ego at the door, and it seems like this cast really plays well together, which is important too.
Yeah, and the conversation I think down the road we gotta have too is like, Lauren ain't getting much younger, so what is the future of the show? To me, is a fascinating topic to look at. Every season, people say, "Is this it? Is this it for Lauren? Like, who might fill his seat? Can anyone?" That to me is something that I'm going to look at, because obviously every year people may say that, but every year it's also going to be true one of these days. And so
I don't know what kind of Venn diagram we have with our viewership, but it reminds me very much of Vince McMahon, because he's been kind of grooming his son-in-law for 15 years or so to take over that company, but he won't give it up just yet. And
more than 15, right? That's been since the late 90s, right?
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a good run for him. Triple H kind of being in the vice president seat, but I'm not. Again, we're always talking about Keenan. I don't want to say it's Keenan, but someone to that status, someone who has that much experience with Saturday Night Live, would be a thought in my mind. Now, you're never going to be able to replace Lorne Michaels. It's not going to happen. You need to
throw a name out.
Yeah,
I think the name I've heard before is Jimmy Fallon.
Perfect.
His show is not doing very well in the ratings. Jimmy Fallon was very nice, and in the Trump years, people didn't want nice; they wanted to go for the jugular. So will Fallon's numbers bounce up? I don't know, but Jimmy Fallon works in the building. He's right there. He and Lauren are very close. But again, let's not. I would never bet against Lorne Michaels. So let's let him do it his way.
But same page there. Someone with that experience that's kind of been able to learn from under Lorne is my pick. Yeah,
for sure. Well, we got to a dark topic there of turning over the next page.
Listen, mortality is real. It's not fun, but it's real.
We're wild and crazy guys. But so this is coming back, baby. Saturday night, John Krasinski.
Saturday night.
I hope I can stay awake for this time, but that's my plan. So I'll be checking in with you.
And I will be looking forward to letting you know Sunday morning how I enjoy it. All right. Soon.
No trivia, no songs. We just got to say goodnight because this is not a regular show. We'll be back on Monday-ish, hopefully, with our thoughts on John Krasinski.
And there you'll get trivia, and there you'll get music.
Oh, yeah. I got trivia ready to go.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
All right. Say goodnight, Joseph.
Good night, Joseph.